Welcome, truth seekers and compassionate souls, to a journey into the heart of human resilience, a tale that forces us to confront the uncomfortable intersection of desperation, love, and the moral lines we draw. Have you ever wondered what it truly means to be pushed to the brink? To face a choice so stark, so impossible, that every fiber of your being screams in protest, yet your very survival, or that of someone you hold dearer than life itself, hinges on that agonizing decision. Today, we delve into a story not just about a little girl, but about the colossal weight of circumstance, the unbreakable bond of family, and the unexpected twists of fate that remind us how interconnected our lives truly are. This isn't just a story. It's a mirror reflecting the silent battles fought every single day, in corners of the world we often forget. Imagine a world where the simplest necessities, clean water, a full meal, basic medicine, are luxuries guarded by an invisible wall of financial impossibility. A world where a child's playground is the dusty, chaotic street, and their classroom is the harsh reality of survival. This is the world of Amma, a world sculpted by the unforgiving sun of Accra, a city pulsating with life yet also harboring profound shadows. Amma, a mere wisp of a girl, 10, maybe 11 years old, her age as fluid and uncertain as the ever-shifting sand beneath her bare feet. Her birth certificate, a casualty of a forgotten flood 3 years prior in Jamestown, a memory washed away with so much else. What remained, however, was far more tangible and far more pressing. The rasping, wheezing breath of her mother, cute, a sound that pierced the quiet of their nights like a broken melody. The looming pile of unpaid medical bills growing taller and more menacing with each passing day. And Amma's singular, unwavering purpose, a burning primal need to keep the woman who had nurtured her, loved her, and held her world together, alive. This wasn't a dream, a childish fancy. It was a desperate, immediate need. It's a feeling that many of us, thankfully, might never have to truly comprehend. That raw, visceral terror of losing the anchor of your existence due to forces entirely beyond your control. Amma's days were a monotonous rhythm of survival. With a blue basin wobbling precariously on her head, filled with sachets of water that quickly lost their fleeting coolness, she navigated the labyrinthine market stalls. The sun, a merciless orb above, scorched everything in its path, from the wooden umbrellas to the plastic canopies, reflecting blindingly off every surface. Her feet, hardened by years of pounding the dusty ground, were a testament to her endurance, her resilience etched into every worn sole. This isn't just about selling water. It's about the relentless pursuit of a few coins, each one a tiny victory against an overwhelming tide of despair. It's about a child carrying not just sachets of water, but the crushing weight of her family's survival, the dream of a secondary school uniform, of speaking big English, of reading stories under the shade of a mango tree. These were luxuries Amma allowed herself for only fleeting moments. They were tantalizing glimpses of an alternate reality, a life she yearned for, but knew instinctively couldn't pay for Mama's next hospital visit. Dreams, in her world, were a distraction from the brutal practicality of survival. The path to Kamanto Market was a sensory assault. The pungent aroma of spoiled kinky, the acrid scent of engine oil, the cacophony of vendors shouting, drivers honking. It was a microcosm of life's relentless, unforgiving pace. A jostle, a dropped sachet of water, and another 20 pass, a precious fraction of her goal, burst like a water bomb, a tiny explosion of lost hope. Sorry, sir," Amma would mumble, bowing her head, the sting of the vendor's growl a familiar companion. She couldn't afford to lose a single sachet, not when 60 CDs were needed for Mama's next appointment. Her nightly ritual was to count her meager earnings in the dark, the metallic clang of coins, a somber counterpoint to her mother's chest, rattling like old iron sheets in a storm. This wasn't just counting money, it was counting the diminishing breaths of her mother, counting the dwindling moments they had left. It's a stark reminder of how interconnected poverty and health crises truly are, creating a vicious cycle that traps families in an inescapable web of despair. Auntie Afua, the kiosk owner, had warned her about government workers clearing illegal structures. The thought sent a chill down Amma's spine. "God, no," she'd whisper, stepping around a pothole filled with black water, her lips dry, her stomach rumbling with a hunger she often ignored. Even small acts of kindness, like a woman from a plantain stall asking for 2 pure waters and not asking for change, brought a faint smile to her face, a fleeting moment of light in an otherwise dark existence. But that smile always faded when she reached the open clearing by the clinic, a makeshift shack of plywood, zinc, and tarpaulin, and found Mama wasn't outside. It always meant the pain was bad. Inside, her mother was curled under a ragged wrapper, her forehead glistening with sweat, her breathing sharp and shallow. "Mama," Amma would whisper, her own voice cracking as she tried to force cheer into it. "Good. I sold almost everything. I got you malt and bread." These small gestures, these brave lies, were Amma's way of shielding her mother from the crushing truth of their reality. Cute's frail response, "You're a good girl. Too good for this world," echoed with a poignant sense of acceptance, a quiet surrender that Amma fiercely resisted. "Don't talk like that," she'd plead, dabbing her mother's face with a wet rag. Cute's philosophical words, "Life is like a thread. Sometimes it breaks before the cloth is done," were not just a saying to Amma. They were a prophecy she was determined to defy. "No, Mama, I won't let that happen." She would kiss her mother's hand, leaving the shack with a silent promise echoing in her heart. "I'll find a way. I promise." This promise wasn't just spoken. It was woven into the very fabric of her being, a vow made to a mother she refused to lose. It speaks to the incredible strength of a child forced to grow up far too soon, to shoulder responsibilities that no child should ever bear. As Amma moved through the bustling streets, her fingers instinctively clutched the thread around her neck. The necklace Mama had told her never to lose. It bore a tiny, dull bronze pendant, something Amma had always dismissed as an old trinket. But Mama swore it had once belonged to someone important. The sun mellowed into an orange hue, casting long shadows, ushering in the evening chorus of fried oil, tired traders, and barefoot children. Amma sat beside Auntie Afua's shop, legs pulled to her chest, her mind haunted by Mama's words. She didn't want Mama's thread to break. Not before she grew up, not before Mama saw her in a school uniform, not before she could repay everything. Auntie Afua, with her gruff exterior masking a kind heart, offered Amma a plate of plain rice and Cheeto. "Your mother was good to me once," she explained, reminding Amma of Mama's forgotten past. Her generosity before sickness claimed her. Then came the unexpected question, delivered in a lowered voice. "Amma, you ever wonder about your father?" Amma paused, her spoon halfway to her mouth. The innocent belief that he had died before she was born suddenly fractured. Auntie Afua, squinting at the pendant, revealed a tantalizing clue. She'd seen a similar chain on the daughter of a rich woman in East Lagan, custom-made by a big, powerful man, only for his daughters. The revelation landed like a stone in Amma's young heart. Could it be? Her father, a powerful man? Mama had always avoided questions about him, a carefully guarded secret that now began to unravel. Auntie Afua's parting words, "Eat and don't talk about this with anyone. Accra has ears, big ears," only deepened the mystery and added another layer of intrigue to Amma's already complex life. That night, as stars blinked over zinc rooftops, Amma lay beside her coughing mother, holding the pendant, staring into the dark, a new seed of hope and confusion taking root in her mind. Was it just a story, or a forgotten truth waiting to be uncovered? The next day dawned with the familiar torment of blistered feet and oppressive heat. Amma woke before dawn, walked miles for water, only to return to find Mama shivering, her lips pale, her blanket soaked with sweat. "Mama," she whispered, crouching quickly, "should I go to the clinic?" Cute's weak refusal, "No money, don't go, I just need to rest," was a dagger to Amma's heart. But Amma wasn't convinced. She made a silent vow. She would go to the pharmacist, the one by the trot station, and beg. This wasn't just about seeking medicine. It was about confronting the harsh reality that love, without resources, can feel utterly powerless. Clutching a small plastic bag with the last of their coins, Amma rushed through the city. The pharmacist, her face etched with a familiar weariness, barely looked at her. You again, she sighed. I told you yesterday, medicine is not free. Amma's whispered plea. Just one dose. I will pay next week, I swear, was met with the cold reality of business. You think I own this place? If I give for free, I'll be sacked. Not even cough syrup. Amma's eyes welled, but she refused to let the tears fall. She bowed and left, clutching the empty bag, her spirit bruised but not broken. Sitting on a broken curb, staring at her dirty feet, Amma's hope dwindled. What could she do now? Nothing left to sell, no help, no hope. Then, a stark contrast to her own misery. A long black SUV, its wheels gliding smoothly over potholes that devoured everyone else's cars. Through tinted windows, she caught a glimpse of a man in a dark suit. Mr. Dow Tandy Williams, his face unreadable, his eyes shielded by sunglasses. He looked like he belonged to another world, a world where sickness had no power and children didn't cry for cough syrup. Amma looked down at her torn dress, then at the pendant. That world was a million miles away, yet somehow she felt a strange, inexplicable connection. Later that evening, back at the compound, Amma knelt beside her mother, wiping her face. "Mama, do you remember who gave you this necklace?" she asked, the mystery weighing heavily on her. Cute's lips twitched. "Your father. He was not a bad man, but he couldn't stay. He had a family, a different life." Amma's whispered question, "Was he rich?" hung in the air, unanswered. Then Amma leaned forward, her voice laced with desperation. "Mama, was he the reason you said I must never lose this chain?" Cute's eyes fluttered. "Amma, promise me. Never steal. Even if you're hungry, promise me." Amma swallowed, her heart screaming. Promises didn't buy medicine. This moment, dear viewers, is a crucial one. It highlights the profound ethical dilemma that poverty and desperation can inflict. What happens when a moral compass, deeply ingrained by a loving parent, clashes with the primal instinct to save that very parent? When the abstract concept of right and wrong collides with the terrifying immediate reality of life and death, Amma's mother, in her wisdom and integrity, instilled this promise: never steal. But the forces closing in on Amma were far more powerful than any childhood vow. As Amma lay beside her mother that night, the familiar panic grew louder, more insistent. Tomorrow would bring more dust, more rejection, more sickness. Something had to change. She had to find a way no matter what. The sound of coughing had become a daily horror, echoing through the shack like the chime of a death bell. Cute lay on the mat, curled into herself, shaking uncontrollably. Her skin had taken on a sickly yellow hue, her lips darkened and dry, her breath shallow. Amma sat by her side, watching with a torn heart as her mother winced in pain. "Mama," she whispered, dipping a cloth into a rusty bowl of water and pressing it to her mother's forehead. The water wasn't cold enough. Nothing was enough. "You're burning up." Cute opened her eyes slowly, her voice cracked like old cloth. "Amma, I can feel it inside. It's like fire." 3 days before, at the government clinic, the doctor's words had been a death knell: advanced liver damage, possible internal infection, expensive tests, costly medicines, potential surgery. Without treatment, she might not have much time. The words slammed into Amma like a hammer. N50,000 deposit required. 50,000 naira. Amma hadn't even seen 5,000 naira at once in her whole life. Now, with her mother groaning softly beside her, Amma sat on a wooden stool, legs bouncing nervously. A small bowl of half-rotten oranges and plantain chips rested beside her. Her inventory, her last hope. For 2 days she'd tried to sell them, standing under the sun, at bus stops near mechanic shops, school gates. No one was buying. No one even looked. She'd offered to fetch water, wash plates, but was told she was too small. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. This morning she rose early, packed her few goods, and moved down the street. Her legs were tired, her heart ached, her shoulders already drooped with the weight of desperation. She tried smiling. "Madam, please, I have fresh oranges, only 50 naira, please buy one." A woman in a green lace blouse frowned. "Go and read your books. Always children disturbing everywhere." Amma swallowed the sting and moved on. To a man in a caftan. "Uncle, please chips. Just small." He shook his head. "No change." She walked more, her eyes burning, her mother's cough echoing in her memory. She passed fancy shops, saw other children playing, eating biscuits. She wasn't like them. Then she saw a woman in royal blue lace stepping out of a new SUV, her heels clicking. Amma dashed forward, standing directly in her path. "Madam, please buy orange. My mother is sick. She is dying. Please, I beg you, just one, please." The woman blinked, stunned, stepping back. But Amma clutched her wrapper. "Please, please, madam, please. I haven't eaten and she needs medicine. I'm begging you. My mother is dying." She dropped to her knees, tears pouring down her cheeks, the street spinning, the weight in her chest exploding. She grabbed the woman's leg. "Buy from me! Please buy from me! She's dying!" she screamed. A small crowd gathered. The woman pried her off, hissed, pulled out a note, and threw a crumpled 100 naira in her bowl before walking off quickly. Amma sat on the roadside, shaking, clutching her tray. She didn't even know where the 100 naira had gone. She just wanted to disappear. This scene is a raw, heart-wrenching depiction of a child's utter powerlessness against a system that offers no safety net. It's a moment that asks us, what would you do? How far would you go for love? She stood slowly, the streets spinning. She heard none of the traffic, the shouting, only her own heartbeat. And then she saw him. Mr. Dow, tall, confident, in a navy suit and expensive leather shoes. His phone to his ear, his voice low, powerful, laughing softly. On his wrist, a gold watch. And from the back pocket of his trousers, his wallet sagged heavily. Amma froze. He crossed the road, his back to her, walking slowly. Her eyes went to the wallet, thick, stuffed, almost falling out. She heard her mother's cough again. She imagined the 50,000 naira paper. Just one chance. Her hands trembled. She took a step. Another. One chance for Mama. She reached forward. In one swift motion, she yanked the wallet from his back pocket and sprinted. "Hey!" she heard. "Hey, you thief! Come back here!" Amma didn't look back. Her bare feet hit the pavement hard. People shouted. Motorcycles honked. Mr. Dow was shouting, pushing through the crowd. Amma ran. She ran like the fire of her mother's sickness was chasing her. She ran like death itself was behind her. She clutched the wallet tightly, not knowing what it held, only knowing she had broken the rules. She had made a promise, but promises don't buy medicine, and her mama was dying. Amma's feet struck the pavement like thunder. Her heart pounded in her ears, louder than the screams and honks behind her. The wallet felt huge in her tiny hands, clutched close to her chest like a shield. The crowd parted as she weaved through busy Lagos streets, ducking under arms, leaping over a gutter, darting behind parked Kiki Napeps. Behind her, Mr. Dow charged like a man possessed. "Hey, stop that girl!" he roared, pushing past a vendor. But Mr. Dow wasn't listening. His mind was set. That little thief had taken his wallet, his passport, his documents, and worse, his dollars. He couldn't believe it. How had he let his guard down? He turned the corner. A dead end. No sign of her. Amma was already gone. She darted into a back alley, her breathing ragged. The alley narrowed into shadows. She didn't stop. She'd run this path before, many times when playing, sometimes escaping street dogs, but never like this. She jumped over an old tire, slid under a low fence, and emerged near an abandoned bus station, disappearing into a maze of shops and sheds that only locals truly understood. Mr. Dow reached the main road again, sweating through his suit, people gawking. "Where?" he barked, turning in circles. The city had swallowed her. Amma didn't stop running until she reached a quiet alley behind an old warehouse. Panting, she leaned against the wall, slid onto her knees, and pulled the wallet into her lap. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. First came the cards, IDs, a passport. She paused. It had his name. Dow Tandy Williams. It was definitely him. Then, between the folds, her fingers brushed something thick. Cash, bundles of naira, stiff US dollar notes, neatly stacked. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. This was more money than she had ever seen in her entire life. It was an overwhelming sum, a testament to a world utterly alien to her. She stared at it for several seconds, her chest heaving. The guilt crawled in like 1,000 insects, a moral swarm descending upon her. Her hands closed the wallet. "God," she whispered, bowing her head, blinking back tears, her ponytail matted with sweat. "Please forgive me. I didn't want to do this. But Mama is dying. She is really, really dying. I didn't know what else to do." She looked up at the sky, clutching the wallet, her lips quivering. "Please don't punish me." She stood again, feet shaky but firm. She had no time to waste. Her mother needed that money, now. Amma wrapped the wallet tightly in a piece of cloth, tied it into a small satchel, and tucked it under her shirt. She sprinted toward the bus stop. Minutes later, she was in a shared taxi heading toward the government hospital. Her eyes flickered with nervousness every time someone looked her way. She kept her head low, a tiny figure consumed by an impossible secret. The taxi dropped her outside the brown, paint-chipped gates of the general hospital. She climbed out and rushed in. Inside, the air smelled of bleach and sorrow. Nurses moved briskly in starched white uniforms. The waiting area buzzed with quiet cries, murmured prayers and groans. She reached the reception. The woman at the counter looked up. "Yes." Amma's voice was barely above a whisper. "My mother, Mama Amma. They brought her this morning. I want to pay for everything." The woman blinked. "You?" Amma nodded. She reached into her shirt and brought out the wallet. Her hands quickly pulled out the money and laid it on the counter. The nurse's eyes widened. Amma didn't explain. "Please use it for the medicine, the tests, all." "Wait here," the nurse said and disappeared behind a door. Amma stood still. Her hands shook. Her heart still raced. Minutes later, the nurse returned. "She has been moved to Ward B. Doctor says they can now proceed with the tests and medication. The money is enough." Amma nodded. "Thank you." The woman looked at her strangely but said nothing. Amma found her way to the ward. Mama lay on a thin mattress, her breathing still shallow but less labored. A nurse stood by the bed, adjusting a drip. "Are you the daughter?" Amma nodded again. "We've started with fluids. We'll begin the test shortly. You were lucky. If you delayed a bit more—" She didn't finish the sentence. Amma walked to the bed, slowly took her mother's hand, and sat. "Mama," she whispered. Her mother's eyelids fluttered, but she didn't speak. Amma sat there for a long time, holding her mother's hand. Eventually, a nurse led her back to the waiting area. She sat on the hard wooden bench and waited. Her hands were empty now, her tray of oranges forgotten somewhere, the wallet gone, the fear still inside her. But for now, she waited for Mama, for healing, for what would come next. She sat on that bench with her ponytail drooping, her clothes dusty, and her eyes fixed on the ward doors. She didn't know what would happen when Mr. Dow caught up, but that was tomorrow's problem. Today, she had saved her mother. This moment of quiet vigil, dear friends, is the eye of the storm. The immediate crisis is averted, but the ripples of Amma's desperate act are just beginning to spread. Amma sat quietly on the cold hospital bench, her eyes fixed on the long white corridor. The smell of antiseptic hung in the air, mixing with the faint buzz of flickering fluorescent lights. Nurses moved briskly past her, but Amma sat still, her small hands wrapped tightly around the worn wallet that had changed everything. Her tray of oranges leaned against the bench, forgotten. She slowly opened the wallet again. Her fingers, small and trembling, pulled apart the thick leather. She stared at the bundles of naira and dollars again, but her eyes drifted to something else. Documents. She gently pulled them out, laying them on her lap. The first was a driver's license. She leaned closer, squinting at the name. Dow Tande Williams. The picture matched the man who had chased her, the well-dressed, confident man in the dark blue suit with short hair. She checked the next paper, a Nigerian passport. Dow again. Then a national ID. All official, all clearly important. Amma's chest rose and fell with guilt. These are very important things, she whispered. What if he's traveling? What if he needs to drive? I have to return them. She stuffed the passport and ID back into the wallet, her fingers trembling as she pressed everything neatly inside. There was still some money left. She had only paid the hospital what they had asked for. No more. She looked at the rest of the cash. Her eyes welled with tears. She looked around and spotted a nurse walking toward her. She stood up and walked quickly toward the woman. "Please, nurse," she said, her voice shaking. "My mommy is in there. I've paid, but please take care of her. I will be back. I need to find someone." The nurse blinked, confused, but nodded. "I'll come back. Please take care of her." She didn't wait for a reply. Amma turned quickly, pressing the wallet close to her chest. Her ponytail bounced against the back of her neck as she made her way down the hospital steps and out into the harsh Lagos sun. Outside, the world bustled on as if nothing had changed. Cars honked, sellers called out their wares, and buses sped down the dusty streets. Amma looked around. She had no idea where Mr. Dow lived. She had no phone, no address, not even a full name, but she had the wallet. "God," she whispered, stepping into the busy road carefully. "I've tried. I know I didn't get this money the right way, but I tried. Please protect my mother. I just wanted to save her. Now I'm going to give back what's not mine. Help me find him." She moved from one street to another, peering into shops, scanning faces. Her heart beat faster every time she thought she saw a familiar dark blue suit. She even ran toward a man once, only to realize it wasn't Mr. Dow. She was searching blindly, but something deep inside her told her she had to keep going. This act of returning the wallet, after achieving her primary goal, speaks volumes about Amma's intrinsic moral compass. It's a powerful statement that true integrity isn't just about what you don't do, but what you do, even when no one is watching, even when it's difficult. Meanwhile, not too far away, Mr. Dow sat in the passenger seat of a black car, sweat beading on his forehead as his driver slowly moved through the narrow inner streets. "Are you sure she ran this way?" the driver asked. "She did. She turned here. I lost her somewhere in the crowd," Mr. Dow muttered. He held his head in his hands, replaying the moment over and over again, the small hands grabbing his wallet, the sudden sprint, and then nothing. He had reported the wallet stolen at the police station earlier that day, but he couldn't rest, not because of the money, but because of what he saw in the child's eyes. Fear, yes, but also something deeper, something that didn't sit well with him. "Stop here," he said suddenly. He got out of the car and began asking around. "Earlier today, about 10 years old, ponytail?" People shook their heads. Some ignored him, others didn't remember. Back in another part of the city, Amma paused near a newspaper stand. Her feet hurt. Her lips were dry. She hadn't eaten since morning. She slid down onto the curb, wiping sweat from her forehead. "The city is too big," she murmured. "How do I find one man in all of Lagos?" She opened the wallet again, hoping for a clue. An address, a card, anything. And then she saw it. A business card, clean, white, tucked behind a flap. Dow Ventures Limited. There was an office number and street name printed at the bottom. Amma's heart raced. She folded the card carefully and placed it in her pocket. "Thank you, God," she whispered. She stood up again and began to walk. It took her another hour to get there. Her feet ached. Her stomach growled, but she didn't stop until she found herself standing outside a tall glass building in the middle of a bustling part of Lagos. The glass doors reflected her dusty, tired figure. People in suits walked past her, barely noticing. She clutched the wallet tightly and walked slowly toward the entrance. "Excuse me," she said to the security man at the door. "I want to see Mr. Dow, please." The man looked down at her, surprised. "You? What for?" "I have his wallet. I want to give it back." The guard's expression softened. "Wait here." As the guard disappeared inside, Amma leaned against the wall, pressing the wallet close. Her heart pounded. Her journey wasn't over yet, but she had come this far. And now, maybe she would meet the man she wronged face to face. This journey of Amma, from the chaotic market streets to the polished, gleaming facade of Dow Ventures, is not just a physical one. It's a profound symbolic journey from desperation to integrity, from anonymity to a collision with destiny. It speaks to the universal truth that even in the darkest corners of despair, the human spirit yearns for righteousness and connection. Amma sat at the reception bench of Dow Enterprises, her eyes scanning the photograph again and again. The young woman's face, with the soft braid, the smooth cheeks, the bright, almost shy smile, looked just like her mother, too much alike for it to be coincidence. Her mind raced. Did Mama have a sister she never told me about? A twin? She whispered to herself, lowering the photo slowly. Or is this really her? She remembered every corner of her mother's face, the curve of her chin, the way her eyes always softened when Amma was sick, the gentle braid Mama wore, even in her hospital bed. This woman had those same eyes. The receptionist cleared her throat. "Little girl, you've been here a while. Are you waiting for someone?" Amma straightened and nodded. "Yes, Ma, I'm waiting for Mr. Dow. I need to return his things." "You have an appointment?" the receptionist asked, clearly skeptical. "No, Ma," Amma said quietly. "But I have his wallet." The woman raised a perfectly penciled eyebrow. "You have what?" Amma opened the wallet just enough for the receptionist to glimpse the photograph and the documents. The woman's expression changed. "Oh, you just sit right there. He's not yet back, but I'll let him know when he arrives." Amma nodded and sat back, her chest tight. She whispered to God again, "Please just let him come. Let me ask him who this woman is. I need to know why her face is in his wallet. I need to know if Mama is more than I think." She leaned back and closed her eyes for a moment. The weight of everything pressed against her. Her mother still lay in a hospital bed, and she was here, waiting to return stolen documents to a man whose life she didn't even understand, and yet somehow was now connected to hers. She opened her eyes and looked out at the glass doors, heart thudding in her chest. And then, through the clear glass, she saw him, Mr. Dow. The tall man in the dark blue suit stepped out of a black SUV, his face hard and unreadable, eyes scanning the building ahead. Amma stood up, suddenly unsure of what she would say or how she'd say it. But one thing was clear. She had to ask about the woman in the photograph, and she had to return everything else. The sliding glass doors of Dow Enterprises glided open, and Mr. Dow stepped in, his long strides radiating purpose and control. Dressed in his usual sharp dark blue suit, his short cropped hair neatly in place, and his briefcase swinging by his side, he was the very image of authority. His eyes swept across the reception like a hawk surveying its terrain. Amma saw him. Her heart pounded wildly in her chest as though it might burst. For a brief second, she considered running away. But no, this was her moment. She clenched the wallet tighter against her chest and leapt from the bench where she had been sitting. "Sir, sir!" she cried. Mr. Dow looked up, momentarily startled. He recognized the voice, even if faintly. His brows furrowed as the little girl rushed toward him. Amma ran and dropped to her knees before him, right there on the cool tiles of the reception floor. She threw herself at his feet, clinging to his trouser leg as tears flooded her eyes. "Forgive me, sir. Please forgive me, sir. My mother was sick. I had no choice. Please, sir. I didn't mean to steal from you. I didn't want to, Mr." Dow stared down at her in shock, his firm posture softening. He looked around as a few staff members and the receptionist paused in surprise. The sight of a little girl clinging to their CEO's legs was something none of them expected to see. All right, he said, his voice low but steady. He gently leaned down and helped Amma to her feet. "Stand up. Come with me." Amma sniffled, nodding, her hands still shaking as she clutched the wallet tightly. The receptionist stepped aside, giving them a curious glance. Mr. Dow opened the secure elevator and led her into the lift. The metallic doors closed and the hum of the elevator filled the silence between them. Amma kept her head bowed, staring at the floor. The elevator dinged and opened into the top floor. A massive, glass-walled office welcomed them, sun-drenched and tastefully designed. The floors were polished mahogany, the walls decorated with traditional Yoruba artwork and photos of various business accolades. A large desk sat near a floor-to-ceiling window, and across from it, a plush couch and 2 chairs. "Sit," Mr. Dow said gently. Amma obeyed, lowering herself onto the edge of the soft leather couch, her legs dangling above the floor. She set the wallet on her lap, both arms still wrapped around it. Mr. Dow took a seat across from her. He studied her quietly for a moment. "Tell me about your mother." Amma looked up at him, her eyes red from crying. She took a deep breath. "My mother is sick, sir," she said, her voice trembling. She has a liver problem. The doctor said it's not yet at the worst stage, but she needed treatment quickly. She was coughing, sir, coughing so hard and vomiting, and she couldn't eat anything. We tried herbs and prayers. We tried everything, but it didn't help. She paused to wipe her nose on the sleeve of her faded green dress. This morning my neighbors helped us rush her to the hospital because she was very weak. They said she needed medicine that we couldn't afford. They gave us a paper to buy the drugs from the pharmacy, but the money was much too much. I didn't know what to do. I tried selling Puff Puff, pure water, anything, but nobody would buy. I begged people on the street to help. I even held on to a woman's leg and begged her to buy something from me. Her voice cracked with emotion. Sir, I didn't plan to steal. I saw your wallet when you were walking, and it was sticking out of your pocket. Something just told me to take it. She looked up into his eyes. I'm sorry, sir. I know it was wrong, but I had to help Mama. I paid the hospital with the money. They admitted her. She's there now. If you want, I can work for you. I can sweep, I can wash cars or arrange files, anything. Just let me pay you back. I promised my mother never to steal. But for her life, I broke that promise. Mr. Dow remained silent, his gaze unmoving. He leaned back slowly in his chair and exhaled. He looked away out the window for a long while, then back at her. You live with your mother? He asked softly. Yes, sir. Just the two of us. Where do you stay? Mushin, sir, not far from the old water tower. In a rented place? No, sir. The house belongs to my mother. He raised an eyebrow. She owns a house? Amma nodded. Yes, sir. It's small, just 2 rooms, but she built it herself. Before she got sick, when she was working, she saved up and bought land. She said one day she didn't want to pay rent again, so she bought a plot of land and built a small house on it. Mr. Dow sat forward slowly in his chair, a strange look in his eyes as he heard those words. She bought a plot of land and built our house, Amma repeated. Before she got sick, Mama was always hard-working. She worked from morning till night just to make sure I went to school, had food to eat, and never lacked anything. Mr. Dow nodded slowly, leaning forward with his elbows on the desk, studying the girl who sat before him with deep concern. Her voice trembled, but her gaze remained firm. Now I don't go to school anymore, Amma continued. I see my friends in their uniforms, walking every morning, laughing, carrying their bags, and I just stay home. It hurts, sir. It really hurts. Her eyes welled with tears she refused to let fall. I have to make sure Mama eats. I have to be the one to boil the herbs, to fan her when her fever comes. I go out every day to sell little things just so we can have something. If I don't go, she won't survive. Mr. Dow sighed deeply. Don't you have any uncles, aunties, anybody who can help you? Amma shook her head slowly. No, sir. Mama is an orphan. She said she never knew her real parents. She grew up moving from house to house, helping people, doing chores for food. One day, my father saw her on the street and took her in. Your father? Mr. Dow asked, the question laced with an almost imperceptible tremor. I don't remember much about him, Amma replied, but Mama said he was a good man, just that the kind of life he lived, she didn't want me to grow up like that. I think he did some bad things, but she doesn't talk about it much. She always says he loved us. Amma paused for a moment, her mind circling back to something she had seen earlier, her eyes lighting up with a mix of confusion and curiosity. Sir, in your wallet, she started, hesitating. Mr. Dow raised his brows, waiting. I saw a picture, a lady. She looked just like my Mama. I mean, not exactly, but like her. Is she your wife, or is she my Mama? Could it be because Mama says she's an orphan? Dow blinked, clearly caught off guard. He reached for his wallet from the desk, opening it slowly. As he flipped through the contents, he pulled out a worn photograph of a young woman, maybe in her mid-teens or early 20s. Her face carried a soft strength, eyes kind yet distant. This one? He asked. Amma nodded, leaning forward to get a closer look. Yes, sir. She looks so much like my Mama, but younger. Dow's gaze remained fixed on the photograph. The corners of his mouth drew into a faint, almost painful smile. He leaned back, exhaling. This woman, he said quietly, is someone I wronged 11 years ago. I met her when I was in Ibadan for a business trip. She was pure, kind, and full of fire. I was drawn to her, Amma. I told her things that weren't true. I made her believe I was unmarried, free, and she trusted me." He paused, looking again at the picture. "When she found out I was married, she didn't say a word. She just disappeared. She never wanted to ruin anyone's home. She had that kind of integrity." Amma's heart pounded. Her breathing was quick and shallow. She clutched her fingers in her lap, eyes never leaving his. "She left me, and I never saw her again," Mr. Dow added, softer now. And right there, the weight of untold stories, of sacrifices and mistakes, hung heavily in the room, as if the office itself was holding its breath, waiting for what would be said next. "What is the name of this lady you're talking about, sir?" Amma asked, curiosity dancing across her wide brown eyes as she looked up at Mr. Dow. Mr. Dow leaned back in his leather office chair and stared at the ceiling for a moment, as if summoning a ghost from the past. Then he looked back down at Amma and said almost in a whisper, "Her name is Cute." Amma's eyes lit up. She sprang to her feet and gasped loudly, "My mommy's name is also Cute! Oh my God, it can't be! Sir, wait! Let it not be. Oh my God, you are my father! You must be my father!" The words poured from her mouth in a high-pitched, excited rush. Her heart raced with a mix of shock, wonder, and something like joy. She bounced slightly where she stood, her simple ponytail swaying with each movement. Mr. Dow's eyes widened. For a second he was frozen, unable to believe what he had just heard. Then he grabbed his car keys from the desk. "Take me to the hospital, now. I need to see her. I need to see your mother." Amma nodded rapidly and told him the name of the hospital. Together, they left Dow Enterprises, weaving through the crowded Lagos streets in his sleek black SUV. The moment they arrived at the hospital, Amma leaped out of the vehicle and dashed inside. Mr. Dow followed, his pace hurried but cautious. They spoke to the nurse at the front desk, who remembered Amma from earlier. Amma turned to Mr. Dow and led him through the corridor, past quiet wards filled with patients and the scent of antiseptic. Finally, they reached the ward. Amma pushed open the door. There, on a small hospital bed beneath a pale blue sheet, lay Madame Cute. Her face pale and tired but unmistakable. Her simple braid lay over her shoulder, just like Amma's. Her eyes were closed, but she stirred as they entered. As soon as she opened her eyes and saw the man standing beside her daughter, her whole expression changed. Fury burned through her weak frame. "You!" she spat, sitting up as much as her strength allowed. "Who let this man in here? Nurse! Nurse! Who gave him permission to walk in here? Go away! Go away, you disgrace of a man!" Amma jumped in between them, clutching her mother's hand. "Mama, please calm down. Please don't get angry. You're still weak." "Cute," Mr. Dow began softly, stepping closer. "I know I wronged you, but I am not the same man anymore. I didn't know you were pregnant when you left. If I had known, Cute cut him off. "If you had known, what would you have done? Lied again? Used my child to fix your guilt? You tricked me, Dow. You didn't tell me you were married until I had already given you everything." She was trembling now. Amma kept her hands wrapped around her mother's as tears streamed down her face. "Mama," she whispered, "I went looking for help. I didn't mean to find this, but he's my father, isn't he?" Dow's voice was filled with regret. "Why didn't you tell me? We could have worked something out. I could have supported you, supported our daughter." Cute turned her head away. "Because I didn't want to destroy your home. I didn't want to be the woman who broke a family. I chose to walk away. I raised her on my own." Amma looked up at her mother, then at her father. "Please, can't we just talk, just for a bit? Mama, I love you. I didn't want to lose you. That's why I did everything I did. I stole for you. I begged for you. I fought for you. And somehow God brought me here to him, to my father." The ward was silent for a moment. Then Cute turned to look into her daughter's eyes. "Amma, you're only 10. You shouldn't have had to carry this burden." "But I did, Mama. I had to. You were all I had. I couldn't lose you." Dow stepped closer. "Cute, please, let me make things right. Let me help you now, even if I failed back then." Cute's voice was raspy, but her spirit was strong. I forgive you, Tao, not because I forgot the pain, but because of my daughter. She deserves peace. She deserves the best. And right now I can't give her that. Amma held both their hands in hers, tears still running. The day Cute was discharged from the hospital was bright and peaceful. Amma held her hand tightly as Mr. Dao walked beside them. A black SUV waited outside, but Amma insisted they take a taxi. Her mother wasn't ready for all the attention and formality. Back in their modest two-room house, Cute laid down on her familiar bed, sighing with relief. The air in the house was stale, but it was home, hers. She looked around, her fingers grazing the cracks in the wall, the little framed photos, the small kitchen where Amma used to cook tea for her. Mr. Dao watched them silently. He cleared his throat and said, "You don't need to stay here anymore. You and Amma can come live with me. I can give you the best." Cute sat up, her brows furrowing. "And your wife? What about her?" There was a long silence. Dao looked down, a shadow crossing his face. "She died," he said quietly. "In a car accident 4 years ago, along with our only child and her sister. I've been alone ever since." Cute's face softened. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He nodded slowly. "Thank you, but now I found a reason to smile again. I want to be there for Amma, for both of you." But Cute straightened up, her tone calm but firm. "I am not going to be anyone's second option. I am grateful you want to be in your daughter's life, and you deserve to be, but I will not leave my home. Amma stays with me. You can see her on weekends, spend time with her, do all the wonderful things you want as her father, but she is my daughter. She is mine and always will be." Dao nodded slowly, processing every word. "I understand," he said, "and I respect that. Thank you for letting me in." Life began to change after that day. Cute slowly regained her strength, getting better with each passing week. She refused Dao's offer to set up a business for her. "I can take care of myself," she told him firmly. "I've done it before, and I'll keep doing it. The only one who needs your support is Amma. She deserves the best." Dao didn't argue. Instead, he poured all his energy into making sure Amma's life became as smooth and joyful as possible. Soon, Amma was enrolled in one of the best private schools in Lagos. Her eyes sparkled when she saw the school's wide compound, green lawns, bright classrooms, and the smiling faces of children her age. She hadn't stepped into a classroom in nearly a year, but now she had new uniforms, new books, and new dreams. Every morning, Dao's sleek black car would stop in front of their two-room home. A respectful driver would open the door for her. Cute, with her simple braid tied neatly behind her, would pack Amma's lunch and hug her goodbye. "Read hard, my girl," she always whispered. "And I'll make you proud, Mama," Amma always replied. Weekdays were for school and home. Amma studied hard, made friends, and told her mother everything that happened during the day. On weekends, Dao would pick her up. Saturdays were for outings, bookstores, the cinema, the beach. Sundays were sometimes for church, sometimes for ice cream, and always for stories about his youth, his regrets, and his love for her. He decorated a room in his house just for her. Pink walls, a desk for homework, and shelves filled with books. But Amma never slept over. "Mama needs me," she always said. And Dao never argued. He would drop her home by evening, wave goodbye, and drive off with pride in his heart. Cute and Dao spoke sometimes, brief conversations, updates about Amma, nothing more. But there was respect, an unspoken understanding, a bridge built not out of romance, but out of co-parenting and shared history. Amma, in her quiet strength, had brought them back together. Not as a couple, but as a mother and father learning to raise their child in love, even from separate homes. And though their lives had been shaped by pain, each day brought new hope. Cute had her dignity, Dao had his redemption, and Amma had the love of both parents, steady, unwavering, and true. This incredible story of Amma, Cute, and Dao is more than just a narrative of extraordinary events. It's a profound exploration of what it means to be human. It challenges us to look beyond the surface, to question our judgments, and to understand the unseen forces that drive individuals to unthinkable actions. First, Amma's journey reminds us that love is a powerful, often desperate catalyst. Her theft wasn't born of malice, but of an unyielding, ferocious love for her mother. It forces us to confront the gray areas of morality, where survival overrides principle. While we certainly don't condone illegal acts, Amma's story compels us to reflect on the societal structures that create such dire choices, and to ask ourselves how we might build a world where a child never has to choose between their mother's life and their own integrity. Second, Cute's character embodies resilience, dignity, and unwavering integrity. She endured abandonment, raised a child in poverty, and even when offered an escape, chose to maintain her self-respect and build her life on her own terms. Her refusal to be a second option is a powerful testament to personal strength and the importance of self-worth, even in the face of overwhelming odds. It's a call to respect the individual paths people forge, recognizing that true strength often lies not in what is given to us, but what we build for ourselves. Third, Mr. Dow's arc speaks to the possibility of redemption and the enduring impact of past mistakes. His initial disregard for Cute's feelings led to years of separation, but his eventual remorse and willingness to step up, without dictating terms, highlights that it's never too late to try and make amends, even if the right way isn't the one you initially imagined. True regret transforms into action, not just words. Finally, Amma is the Kai bridge of connection, the embodiment of hope. Her unwavering love, her desperate courage, and her innate sense of right brought two fractured pasts together, not in a perfect reunion, but in a respectful, evolving partnership. She taught her parents that family can be redefined, that forgiveness can heal old wounds, and that sometimes the most challenging journeys lead us exactly where we were always meant to be. This story, while unique in its specifics, echoes countless struggles across our world. Struggles for healthcare, for dignity, for family connection. It challenges us to look beyond quick judgments and to consider the complex human stories that underpin every headline. What acts of quiet desperation or profound resilience are happening around you right now? What connections might be waiting to be discovered if only we were open to seeing them? Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If this story resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel for more tales that illuminate the human spirit. Until next time, remember that every individual holds a story, and sometimes the most extraordinary lessons are found in the most unexpected places.